Explain the story how you got kidnapped.
So I had this guy who told me that he was an informant for the DEA and that he had a lot of information about what's going on in Mexico. And we kept writing back and forth for at least a year before I actually met him in Ciudad Juarez. And he gave me these papers with a lot of phone numbers and audio files from a woman working for the local police in Ciudad Juarez. She was a police officer, but she was literally fucking military commandante, federal police commander as well, and a local police chief. So she was in bed with the three of them and a narco. So she was sharing information all over. You know, like she was getting paid by all over those guys, but to share information about each other. You know, so she was like in the middle of everything. He gave me her name, her phone number, a lot of recordings he had on her and how she was operating. And of course, I posed the fucking story, right? This is a local police woman in bed with all these people sharing information. On one of the calls that I got to listen how she's dealing information between each other. She said this and that, blah, blah, blah. So I had the whole fucking story. It went to the cover of the newspaper on both sides, in El Paso and Ciudad Juarez. So it was a huge story. I was super happy because I was like, wow, finally my stories are making the front page, right? And that was that. My editor told me, "Are you sure you wanna have your byline, your name on the byline? We can have a different name or a like a nickname or something." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Oh, of course I need my name, man. It's a huge fucking investigation." And that was my mistake. After, I don't know, 2 or 3 nights, I left my girlfriend at the time at her house, was driving back to my parents' house. And 2 police officers on different pickup trucks, they stopped me in the middle of the night. They started hitting my window with their guns, like, get the fuck out of the car. And I was pretty sure that they were taking me by mistake, right? I was like, they're looking for someone else. It's a fucking mess in the city. And I'm the only dude that it's out 1 a.m. in the streets. But I had my newspaper badge and everything. So I went down from my car. They started like kicking me and pushing me around. I was like, hey, dude, I think you're mistaken. It's like, no, we're not mistaken, man. You know what you did? They kept kicking me and beating me. And I never understood, like, until that point, I was like, why are these guys are just fucking confusing. I mean, what did I do? And they're like, you know what you did? After a while of that, they took my car keys. One of those guys jumped into my car and started driving, and they tied my hands and my ankles and put me in the back of a pickup truck, and they put their foot on top of my...
On the back of your pickup truck?
No,
a different one.
On their pickup, on the official police pickup truck, right? And they put their feet on my back, so I will stay down while they were driving. They started driving for about, I don't know, like 20-25 minutes, and then I felt they went like into a dirt road, and I was like, fuck, man, I'm fucked. And they stopped, they untied me, and one of those guys told me, like the commander told me, I'm gonna give you a chance to run, so start fucking running. And I immediately knew that he was gonna fucking shoot me in the back if I started running, and say like he got me there by mistake, or that I had a gun on me or some shit like that. So I was like, I'm not gonna run, man. It's like, are you stupid or what? I'm giving you a fucking chance to run, and you're not taking it. And I'm like, nah, man, I know what's
These guys were
on.
straight up planning on executing you.
Yeah, totally. Because he told me like they're gonna find you. He used this word. He told me they will find you in the back of your car as cattle, as dead cattle, right? Como una vaca muerta. That's what he told me. So they were up to me, like they were really trying to kill me. And I remember that I got in my knees, and I don't remember being yelling or screaming, but the commander told me, stop fucking yelling. And I'm like, I'm not yelling, I'm just asking you for a favor. And I was like, you're not in no position of asking a favor. And he started like beating me again with his fucking gun. And I'm like, I'm not yelling, I'm just asking you for 10 minutes. Give me a number and I can have the money someone to bring the money here, and just give me 10 minutes. How much money will 10 minutes cost me? And he's like, it's not like that, man. You fucked up with the wrong person, so you're fucked. And then another guy stepped in and said, like, what if we, and then they just used code numbers, right? That I sort of like understood that they were talking about that deal. That what if we get money and let him go for a few minutes, and then we go after him, and then we fucking kill him and get the kill and the money.
Right.
Because I remember, I think it was 25 on the radio thing. They used to have radios, right? Like two-way radio communications to talk between the police. And I think 25 was referring to a male dead, to a deceased male. And 24 was deceased woman and stuff like that. So I remember that he said something like, what if we 19 first and then we 25 him? And I was like, shit, they're planning something and then they're going to kill me.
Right.
So I was like, that's my chance. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, just let me know. Keep my fucking car. Let me know how much money you need and just give me 10 fucking minutes. Because I knew I'm a dual citizen, right? So I was like, I'm going to fucking run to the U.S., to El Paso, and stay there forever and fuck them.
Right.
And then they started like fighting between each other. And then the commander said like, all right, you know what? Bring me, I had two cards at the time, a Mexican debit card and a U.S. debit card where I was paid by the news organization I worked with. But the limit to withdraw from the ATM was 6 grand pesos, which is like around $300 on each card. So I bring back $600, and I was like, that's the limit that I could get from the ATM. I was walking.
So they let you leave?
They let me leave, and I remember
by yourself?
Yeah, and I'm walking though, because they kept my wallet and they kept my car. And I remember when I started walking, I was like, hey, just give me your man's word that you're not going to shoot me on the back while I walk out. And he's like, you can't ask me for a man's word, man. But he's like, but you give me yours. You're not going to fucking run because we're going to find you and your family. We have your IDs and everything. And I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to run. And he's like, all right. So I started walking instead of running, because in my head I was like, if they shoot me, it's going to look different. And my colleagues at the newspapers, they're going to investigate. And they're going to know that I was not running, that I was actually walking, and someone shot me in the back. Because I was fucking sure that they were going to fucking shoot me in the back. So I started walking down this dark alley, went up to an ATM down the street, down one of the main streets, took money from both of my cards, and then came back and gave him the money. Told him, like, just count the money. And it's like, now there's no need. There you go. That's your car. Make sure you're not missing anything from your car. That's your wallet. Make sure you're not missing anything from your wallet. And we'll see you in 10 minutes. And I'm like, all right. And I started fucking driving like crazy. By then it was like maybe 3 a.m.
They'll see you in 10 minutes?
They were gonna find me. They were gonna look for me again from the IDs that I had and from, everything they gather on me. But the thing is, I haven't updated my ID from Mexico. So I had an old fucking address on my Mexican ID, not the address where I was living with my parents, right? And that address was, where I was living with my parents was a gated community, super fucking protected, where most of the owners of Ciudad Juarez live, right? Like the main business owners, lawyers, doctors, all this stuff, they live there. So it's very fucking protected. It's impossible that they would go in without getting into trouble. So yeah, that's how I left. I went home. I remember one thing. I had 2 phones on me. I had my personal phone and the phone from the newspaper, right? And they asked me to turn off the phones. So when I was I turned off the work phone. And when I was about to turn off my personal phone, my girlfriend called me to see if everything was good. And instead of turning off the phone, I answered. So she started listening everything, and she called my parents. And both of them were listening when these guys told me that they were going to find me dead on the back of my car, that they were going to kill me. When they started beating me, all that shit. So when I got home, my parents were fucking hysterical.
Oh my God.
They were like, what the fuck is going on? And my dad was fucking crazy. And I was like, I just need to go. I need to go. And I packed a fucking backpack, with clothes. I remember I only packed I only packed jeans and no fucking shirts because I was not thinking straight.
What
right?
did you do? Go straight to El Paso?
And I went straight to El Paso to a hotel, and then I started renting a apartment in El Paso. And I remember it was fucking dark times. 'Cause I was crying almost every fucking night because I was looking at my city and looking at the, you know, I was like, I want to go back. That's my fucking city, man. That's where I want to leave. And I lived in an apartment that was, it's like in a small hill. And I will look over to Ciudad Juarez, to the whole fucking city, and just thinking about how many people were being killed and what happened to me in that traumatic event and all the shit, and the fact that I couldn't just go there, and the fact that I had to change my beat of writing from security and investigation to fucking sports and cultural shit in El Paso. It was just too much. And I remember I used to drink a lot and cry a lot, like every fucking night, you know, because I was feeling so fucking bad about that.